All right, everybody, back with another tutorial video. Today, I'm going to talk about how I manage my bullpen in the postseason. I want to say don't pay any attention to these roles over here. I was messing around with stuff, and I manage my bullpen in the postseason, so it doesn't matter what I tell my manager the roles are. Don't give yourself three stoppers. Don't be like me here. So yeah, I'm going to tell you how I manage it. And I know I mentioned some of the other tutorials lately, but if you enjoy the channel, if you please subscribe. I'm getting close to that magic 1,000 subscriber mark. And if you have a couple bucks a month to support it, there's a link to the Patreon down in the comments. So all right, let's get on with the bullpen and how I structure it. Basically, in the postseason, your bullpen management is going to be very different than in the regular season, and you'll see this in the major leagues too, where starters go even shorter distance often in the postseason, and your best relievers are used not at the end of the game, but often in the biggest spots, which a lot of teams are moving to doing that in the regular season too, where they don't have like a defined closer to get the last outs of the game. They just use their best relievers in the most important spots of the game. But it's even more exaggerated in the postseason than in the regular season, just because over 162 game season, you can't burn out your best relievers every time you need a big out. Whereas in the postseason, like, you should be using your best relievers when you need a big out. So I'm going to go through a couple scenarios of how I kind of structure it with my team now, because it will depend on how your bullpen's structured. But I really think the structure that I have right now is ideal. I'd love to have it every season. And what I have is four guys. I have McKinley Moore, Steve Donovan are two righties, and Dave Correa and Emilio Caldera are two lefties. Those are my four main dudes, and I love a couple things about it. One, that I got two lefties and two righties, so I can play matchups if I need to. I also really like that their stamina. We've got a 40 here, which for a reliever, totally fine. Donovan is a starter for me, who I push the bullpen because I don't need five starters, I only need four. It bumped this stuff from 65 to 75, 55 stamina, so he can get a lot of outs for me. Dave Correa could also be a starter, 60 stamina. Caldera is a guy who was in my rotation at times this year, 45 stamina. So what I like about this is I can count on, I've kind of identified these guys as my four best relievers, and I can count on them to get me, 6 outs each. And since I have a lefty and a righty, my basic game plan going into postseason game is, okay, I can get 6 outs from one of the lefties and 6 outs from one of the righties. So I can do that every other game because of the way days off are staggered in the postseason. So in game one, here, I'm going to go show you my schedule. Fake Oriole fans will see we just won game two. And so game one, I went to Caldera. I only needed him for an inning. And then I went to Moore for the last 2 innings because my starter pitched really well. I stuck with him for 6 innings. But I got all my outs from my top lefty and my top righty. So then the next game, I was going to try to stay away from these two guys if I could. So Correa and Donovan were my guys. And you'll see what I did. Correa didn't pitch so well. He let 2 guys get on. But, I got my final 6 outs from my 2 guys, Correa and Donovan. Now I've got a day off. And then, so all these guys are going to be fine. And Moore will be back. Fully gassed to go, and so will be Caldera. So I'll kind of lean on them for the next game. It'll be Moore and Caldera will be the guys I'll be looking to get up to 12 outs from, which is 4 innings. Basically, if I can get 5 innings from my starter, I feel like I'm good because I can go to the bullpen. Now, sometimes these guys are going to get rocked, and I have plenty of other good relievers to come in if need be. Or sometimes they're going to be tired from pitching further, longer in a game earlier in the week. Or if they're pitching every other day, like 40 pitches, eventually they're just not going to be able to pitch every other day. So you want contingency plans, but that's my first line of defense is, cool, I got a prime lefty and a prime righty. I can get 6 outs from each of them every other day. I really like that setup. But again, I would say don't fixate too much on the role of the closer or saving your best reliever for later in the game. McKinley Moore is really like the best reliever in baseball. He put up 4 WAR last season, 3 WAR this season. He strikes out about 16 guys per 9, and he keeps the ball in the yard decently for being Camden Yards. His strikeout to walk ratio is good. I mean, this guy could really be a starter, but I just don't really need him as a starter, and he's dynamite at the back end of my bullpen. I mean, I never pay closers or relievers this much money, and I'm paying him $17.6 million happily. But one thing that I do with him, he's my ace bullpen guy, right? Like the other three are all awesome, but he's my ace guy. So if I'm in a big spot in a game, I will use him anywhere. There was a game a couple seasons ago where I was in the ALDS, and I think I was down in the series 2-0, and game 3 I was in the 5th inning, and I was already down like 2-0, and the team loaded the bases, and I was like, this is my season. It's the 5th inning. I think there might have been 1 out, but it's the 5th inning. I'm down 2-0, and if they get a big hit or two here, like my season's basically over. I'm going to be down 6 runs with my season, in a season-ending game. So that is something that I would not hesitate to do, is use your best ace reliever in the biggest spots. Now, you're not going to be able to do it every game because you're going to burn them out. But if it's a do or die game or an out you really need, or a crucial part of the series, don't hesitate to use them in the 3rd inning, the 4th inning, the 5th inning, the 6th inning. Sometimes the most important outs of a game are in the 4th inning, not the 9th. So that's one example. I use McKinley more like that a lot. Now, if things are going well, I'll gladly use him to close out like the last 2 or 3 innings of a game. Sure, like works for me, but don't hesitate to use your best reliever in tight spots early in the game. So just to recap, ideally find 2 lefties, 2 righties, use them every other day for up to 6 outs each. But also just have an ace reliever that you can bring in to put out any fire in the postseason when every out just matters so much. So that's all for this one. If you have any questions or want me to expand on kind of how I do the bullpen in the postseason, or I can show you, I've kind of changed how I do it in the regular season, which is a whole different video that I've done before, but it's even different than that now, and it's definitely not this. Again, don't pay attention to these roles. And talk to you guys next time.